The topic of lost media is all the rage these days. But while everyone and their brother searches for well-known pieces like Saki Sonobashi, Slamfest 99, and old episodes of Doctor Who, there are hundreds, if not thousands of pieces that no one is looking for. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to volume 49 of Lesser Known Lost Media. If you're joining us for the first time, well, congratulations to you. You have 48 other videos to watch. As for the rest of you, well, you probably know it goes without saying, but we're going to say it anyway. We start this video off with 4 pieces of lesser known lost media that you just don't see talked about on YouTube all that much, before taking a quick ad break and then getting into our final 5th spicy piece of lesser known lost media. So with all that being said, let's get going. At number 1 today, we have Scratch and Sniff's Den of Doom, a partially lost CITV quiz show from 2007. Scratch and Sniff's Den of Doom was a British quiz show that aired on CITV in 2007. The show is hosted by the titular puppet hyena characters Scratch, voiced by Dawn Austin, and Sniff, voiced by John Eccleston, who ask multiple choice questions with a multitude of skits to the contestants throughout the show. The show aired for 1 season before being cancelled with a total of 15 episodes. Each episode of the show consists of 5 contestants that the hyenas have captured to play their game. In each round, the contestants have to answer questions to avoid being dunked in the host's cooking pot to be eaten for their dinner. Round 1 and 2 start by each contestant at being asked in a clockwise rotation a multiple choice question of 2 answers. If the question is answered wrongly, they step closer to the drop zone. However, if the question is answered correctly, the contestants get to choose another contestant to get sent 1 step further into the drop zone. After the contestants have taken 3 steps forward, they find themselves in the drop zone, and Sniff will ask the losing contestant a riddle called the Question Impossible, which will get answered incorrectly. The losing contestant will then be dropped by Scratch, and Scratch would make a remark at the losing contestant's expense. During the advert break, the show would cut to a skit called What's in Your Pants? The skit showed the hyenas in the safari, Scratch being dressed as an explorer, and will ask the viewer what creature has entered Sniff's pants while describing its attributes. After the break, the creature would be revealed before continuing the rest of the show. The third round would be called Double Drop. In that round, it would be a continuation as the first 2 rounds, but it keeps going until 2 or 3 contestants are on the drop zone. The last remaining contestant would then be interviewed by the hyenas, who would attempt to dent their confidence. The contestant would then be presented by more multiple choice questions with 5 answers, each being represented by the contestant's drop zone. They would be given 10 seconds to answer, with the incorrect answer being revealed one by one. The eventual outcome would then either be that they lose by falling into the pot, or they win with a trophy and get chased off by the hyenas, in which they don't succeed in doing so. However, if all the contestants fall, the hyenas would taunt the finalist before turning to the viewer and explaining that they're off to find more contestants. The show was produced by the Foundation in 2006 and originally broadcast on ITV1, which was the CITV weekend block, in 2007. Den of Doom was rerun on the CITV channel on special occasions, Half-Term Horror Days, which would be in March 2007, and CITV Goes Bananas in February of 2008, before being added to the regular schedule in 2009. It had reruns up until early 2011, in which the show was removed from CITV's show listing. So out of the 15 total episodes, 8 are found, while the other 7 are only partially found. I find this one interesting because although it seems to have a somewhat simple premise, the setup alone of like the hyenas and the cooking pot and all that makes it a lot more interesting, a lot more unique than a lot of game shows we see nowadays. So, kudos to them for trying something new. I guess it only lasted 1 season. Maybe it was expensive to produce. Maybe it just didn't get the views they wanted. But all in all, you gotta give people props for trying something different. At number 2, we have Oil and Vinegar, a lost screenplay of a cancelled John Hughes film circa 1984 to 1986. John Hughes was an American filmmaker known for classic 1980s comedies and dramas such as The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and many more. Hughes' films are iconic for often featuring teenagers having coming-of-age experiences. He also helped launch the careers of many young celebrities, including Matthew Broderick, Anthony Michael Hall, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy, and many more. After his death in 2009, his family found multiple unreleased scripts. One of these scripts, Oil and Vinegar, was said to have been a favorite of Hughes. Despite the love Hughes had for this script, it was never made into a film, and the script has remained unreleased. So what was Oil and Vinegar? Well, Oil and Vinegar was a screenplay written by Hughes, most likely between 1984 and 1986. He adored the script and sent it off to multiple actors he'd worked with previously. Matthew Broderick, who had immense success playing the main character in Hughes' previous film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, would have been cast as the lead male role, a traveling salesman. Molly Ringwald, who had played in 3 of Hughes' films prior, would have played the female lead, a hitchhiking new wave girl. In her nonfiction book, You Couldn't Ignore Me If You Tried, The Brat Pack, John Hughes, and Their Impact on a Generation, author Susanna Gora tells how Broderick spoke to her about the script. Quote, "It was a romantic comedy that had Broderick and Ringwald in a car for the entire movie. Broderick, who read the script, told me he was fascinated with it because it was an even smaller experiment than The Breakfast Club, where you had 5 characters in one room." Filmmaker Howard Deutsch was among the group of individuals who read the script. Deutsch, who was working on Some Kind of Wonderful at the time, expressed an interest in directing Oil and Vinegar. Deutsch later told actor John Cryer that it was the best script of Hughes's that he'd read. Reportedly, Hughes was initially okay with Deutsch directing Oil and Vinegar. However, when Deutsch went to his office the next day, Hughes locked him out and kicked him out of the production team for Some Kind of Wonderful. It seems that Hughes took Deutsch's desire to direct as competition. It is said that the men later reconciled. John Cryer spoke of the ordeal in his memoir, So That Happened, a memoir. And to quote, "The next day, Howie, Deutsch, went to the studio to work on Some Kind of Wonderful and discovered a lock on his door, and shortly after, he received word that he'd been taken off the movie. In a flash, John, Hughes, had simply turned against Howie. It seems John had wanted to direct Oil and Vinegar himself, and interpreted Howie's vocalization of interest as a huge betrayal." It is said that Hughes became protective over the film. Unfortunately, it was never made into a film following the incident with Deutsch. So we have a little history, but what was it actually about? I mean, beyond just the basic premise that we talked about. So, the film would have had a similar play-like format seen in The Breakfast Club, focusing on the conversation between these two characters. Broderick would have played a traveling salesman who picks up a young hitchhiker, played by Ringwald, trapped by themselves out in the middle of nowhere in Broderick's car, and later a motel room. The two would have conversations on coming-of-age topics similar to those heard in Breakfast Club. However, another potential director, Alan Metter, recalls that the plot involved Broderick's character driving to his wedding, picking up Ringwald along the way. To date, the script has remained lost and likely will not be released by anyone other than the family. Those who read the script hail it as Hughes' greatest work, and many fans hope that the script will be released publicly or even get made into a film. I agree with the fans. Personally, I would love to see the script released. I don't think it will ever get made into a movie, given how protective Hughes was of it, and I don't think his family would go against his wishes and allow the script to be turned into a movie, but I could definitely see like high schools doing it as like a play or something. But yeah, no, if this is supposedly Hughes' greatest work, I would love to see it, and it still exists potentially, and maybe someday we'll get to. At number 3, we have Creative Engineering Inc., partially lost audio of animatronic characters show tapes, 1970s to the 2000s. Creative Engineering Inc. is an animatronic company founded in 1975. They are most recognized for producing the Rockafire Explosion Band that operated in Showbiz Pizza Place food chains in the 1980s. Other than the Rockafire, Creative Engineering manufactured several other animatronic bands and retrofits for their own shows. Many show tapes and segments of these show tapes have never surfaced online or have since disappeared. Debuting on August 14th of 1980, the Rockafire Explosion animatronic show was Showbiz Pizza's primary distinction from other arcades at the time. In 1990, however, Showbiz Pizza made the decision to remove the Rockafire entertainment from their restaurants after Creative Engineering Inc. refused to give Showbiz Pizza the copyrights and trademarks. This led to a process known as concept unification, in which not only most Showbiz Pizza places being converted to Chuck E. Cheese locations, as Showbiz bought all the assets to Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater in 1984, but also included all of the Rockafire characters except Billy Bob and Earl being retrofitted into Chuck E. Cheese characters, with the show being renamed to Munch's Make-Believe Band. However, starting in 1987, after Showbiz and Creative canceled the original manufacturing, sales, and licensing agreement and created a new settlement and license agreement, which was much looser than the original one, and gave Creative full rights to the destiny and future of the Rock-afire Explosion, Creative started to sell the Rock-afire Explosion to other venues such as Pistol Pete's Pizza, Circus Pizza, Funtime Pizza, Fun Zone, Fun Station USA, Flamingo Land, and Billy Bob's Wonderland. While most of Rock-afire show tapes have been found, there are a few still missing. These missing or partially missing tapes include Dr. Juke's test tape, the mini stage skits, birthday intros and junk skits, as well as the Showbiz Pizza Fiesta show tapes, Talking Billy Bob walk-around show tapes, Golden Show Tapes collection, and one that does not have any kind of description on the Lost Media Wiki called the TiVo shows. I could honestly spend all day talking about the multitude of different shows and tapes that are lost or partially lost from this company, so I'm just going to give you a very brief overview that each thing I'm about to mention has either lost or partially lost content, and that is the Looney Birds, the new Rock-afire Explosion, the Wolfpack 5, Hard Luck Bears, Willy Wabbit, The Scab, Friendly Freddy, The Confederate Critter Show, Bear Country Jubilee, Gaslight Jamboree, Bubba the Shakespearean Gorilla, Laszlo the Fortune Teller, Clown, Reginald J. Flute and Snoot, Wizard of Oz, Duke and Mitzi, The Jungle Juke Band, The Cosmic Combo, Mini Billy Bob, The Meejans, and something called The Talking Heads Show. Honestly, if you're interested in this kind of content, I highly recommend heading on over to the Lost Media Wiki and checking out this article for yourself. There is quite a bit there. Animatronics are always a big fan of mine, and so Lost Media animatronics are even cooler, and that's why this one gets to be on the list. Alright guys, at number 4 we have a Valerie's Family Fire Prevention, which are partially found McDonald's-sponsored TV ads from 1987. In 1986, a sitcom starring Valerie Harper as a mother of 3 boys and wife of an airline pilot entitled Valerie debuted on NBC. Its 13-episode trial season was a success, and it was renewed for another season, which was equally successful. A third season had been greenlit and was just starting production before Harper was involved in a salary dispute, resulting in her getting fired from the show, and as a result, her character was killed off in a car accident. Sandy Duncan was brought in as the boy's aunt, and the show was renamed Valerie's Family. Now, several episodes of Season 3 deal with the Hogans overcoming Valerie's death, including the 3rd episode entitled Burned Out, sponsored by McDonald's and aired during Fire Prevention Week on October 5th of 1987. In the episode, as the boys and their father are helping Sandy move in, they come across a poorly structured lamp in their attic. As they walk away from it, the lamp sparks and catches fire. The fire contains itself well enough that the Hogans don't notice anything wrong until they're getting ready for bed. As fate would have it, the fire eventually engulfs the house and leaves the Hogans to stay with their next-door neighbors, the Pools, one of whom was coincidentally played by Willard Scott, the first person to play the role of Ronald McDonald, while their house is being repaired. But hey, where does McDonald's come into all this? Well, as a condition of their sponsorship, McDonald helped finance the set damage for the scene, involving the Hogans exploring their charred house, and aired public safety announcements related to fire safety during the episode's commercial breaks. These commercials were only shown during the episode's debut airing and were never repeated. While Burned Out is still in regular circulation, the commercials that aired during this episode aren't for the most part. One is available, but due to only airing once, the others are unlikely to resurface given their rarity. This one is interesting to me because, the idea of a commercial that would be only airing one time is just unthinkable in this day and age. Commercials are expensive. They take time to produce, they take time to edit, they take time to film. And so to only air them during a one-time screening of one episode of a show is nuts to me. I mean, sure, they were for a good cause, fire safety and all that, but they wouldn't show them afterwards. I mean, it's not like, fires aren't a constant problem in American households. Again, the thing that I find very interesting here is just the rarity, and that being the rarity being the reason why it's lost. It's nuts to me. Alright guys, we're going to get to that 5th and final spicy piece of Lost Media here in a second, but of course now in between 4 and 5 we have the brief ad break. Most of you already know about my minis. I sell custom minis as well as a few not safe for work options that I sell on eBay and Mercari. Links are in the description. Also, you guys, you probably have heard this before, but to those of you new to the channel, again, we are trying so hard to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. We're close to 800 now, and if we can get to 800 before the end of May, I'm going to do not one, but 2 milestone giveaways. One is going to be of one of my miniatures as well as one of an anime figure that I do have in my possession already, but I will not reveal which one it is going to be until we hit that 800th subscriber. So please do what you can, like, comment, help the algorithm, subscribe if you haven't already, share the videos around, and if you're feeling really generous, either buy a mini or consider joining the Patreon or becoming a channel member or even making a one-time contribution via my PayPal. And with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. Let's get to that final piece. Alright guys, at number 5, our spicy piece today is Gang Bang, a partially lost, unreleased Aisha Erotica album from 2016. Gang Bang, stylized in all caps, is the scrapped third studio album from American producer and singer Aisha Erotica, originally meant for an October 29th, 2016 release, with an iTunes pre-order going up on October 22nd of the same year. Several promo singles were released for the album, but for unknown reasons, the album was shelved within the month it was meant to be released. In 2023, Aisha Erotica shared her thoughts on the album, calling it poorly done and rushed, and that most of the tracks were half done or like throwaway material, possibly showing that the reason for the cancellation was dissatisfaction with the album. She also confirmed the existence of an, as of now, unleaked full photo shoot. This photo shoot, which has not resurfaced in full, was made centering around the fashion brand American Apparel. There's a 7-year-old board of American Apparel ads on her Pinterest, which might have been the inspiration for the shoot. Aisha would later reuse some of the pictures from the photo shoot as the cover art for the singles Love It, Redux, and Major. Several songs from the album were officially released with her 2016 EP, Come Shot. Additional unreleased tracks were released on her Whore1234 account, such as I Will in December of 2023, and the now deleted SoundCloud account, Lil Tay Nation, leaked the unreleased track Raw in full. On February 2nd of 2017, Aisha Erotica posted the playlist What You Never Got to Hear, a farewell to the Gang Bang era, on her main SoundCloud account, Pussy Sugar. This playlist contains 5 confirmed outtakes from the album, although none of the tracks featured were meant to be on the finished album. On July 11th of 2023, the full track list was leaked on Reddit, and so here's the list and their status. So of course there's Gang Bang, which has been found, Hit 'em, the recipe, also found, Like My Daddy, which is lost, Crack Rock, which is found, Party Bitch, also found, Sex Drive, also found, Uncomfortable, featuring Erica Kane, or Erica Kanye, I don't know how to say that last name. That one's partially lost. The solo demo is the only thing we found. So Severe, which is an instrumental track, which is lost. 16, which are a remaster, also lost. And then the following 4 tracks have been found. Raw, Regret, Used, and Fins. I'll be honest, until making this video, I had never heard of Aisha Erotica, but it just seems kind of like a shock artist that is, everything. I mean, her SoundCloud account was called Pussy Sugar, really? Again, I've never listened to her music. I have no idea if it's any good, but it almost seems like this whole thing was just done for publicity. And, that's totally fine. That's a great way to make a name for yourself, but I don't know, it feels a little ridiculous, but it's still fun, so it's on the list. And that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being a part of this series. Next week, we'll have had 50 episodes of the show, which is nuts, in all honesty. And as promised, I will be making a supercut after the 50th episode of specifically all the spicy pieces, starting from volume 1 all the way to volume 50. So that will be a supercut. It'll be one of the longer videos, probably going through 50 of these things, but also it will likely be a members exclusive. So again, $1 tier gets you everything, gets you access to all the stuff. You know, higher tiers get you shout outs and whatnot. But if you're interested in having just, you know, being able to access the full 50 entry spicy media supercut, again, now's a great time to join that $1 tier. Again, thank you to everyone for joining me on the journey thus far. There's plenty more lost media to talk about and hopefully plenty more to find. And until next time, everyone, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.